What's up, YouTube? It's John back again for another YouTube video. Lol. I don't know how to do intros yet. Anyways, round 3 from our locals on Thursday night. On the left, you have me playing Fenriloogamon. On the right, we have Taj playing 7 Great Demon Lords. And 7 Great Demon Lords, I originally felt like maybe this matchup was pretty easy for Fenril, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a skill issue on my part. But I didn't really have a lot of practice on Fenrir, to be honest. I used to main this deck like maybe before, like back in like BT14, but it's been so long since I've played it that like I don't know. And I haven't like really messed with any of the new stuff, so I'm super out of practice. And I think to beat decks that are a little bit more difficult to play against, like 7 Great Demon Lords, difficult in the way that they don't let you execute your traditional game plan easily. It's usually a little bit more awkward. I think you have to be really well versed or well rehearsed in your game plan, and like you have to be very well practiced with the deck that you're playing, because you can't really, it's not a traditional game plan that you have to, I mean, it is kind of like you're still gonna try and do your thing, but you do have to like take a lot more into consideration when playing against it. So I feel like my rust in Fenrir definitely showed here. So we do Helluger here for 3, draw. And then we hard play the Luga, trigger Helluger. And see, this play did not feel, the big thing I was missing, I think a lot, this game was AG. I felt like I was missing AG really hard. I had played 7 Great Demon Lords earlier in the evening against Ray, and I was playing, and I think I played that game really well. I actually think Gato Uver does pretty good into that matchup, but it's awkward. Like, you have to see it, and like if they do things like they have like Levia, they can obviously Biting Crush you. The Lucamon makes it awkward. And in this game, I actually really mess up a play, and I'll mention it when I see it, but I find 7 Great Demon Lords tedious to play against, just like Royal Knights was. I think the deck is fine. I don't think there's anything inherent. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, you kill both. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with the deck. I think it's very strong. I think I get Ruin Moded for like 4 turns in a row here. But it's just, it's awkward to play against sometimes, because like they have so many tools to deal with your board, you know, so it's just super awkward. And it makes it kind of, depending on what deck you're playing, it could be like not unwinnable, but even more like less favored. Like I know Mirage can have a really hard time into it, because you don't, like, your level 5 bouncing is like mandatory, for example. That's why I decided to up my copies of the Evade Mirage to 2 to see if that maybe makes it a little bit better, so I don't have to bounce the Lucamon. But the problem is that burst mode does bounce, you know. So alright, so we go into the Lugamon just to try and get around. Oh, actually, I want to go back and highlight this. This was crazy. So, plays Beelzemon. He already has 1 Rival's Barrage to get back the Ruin Mode, but he mills a second one. So, like, I already know, I'm going to get Ruin Moded again for, like, 2 more turns. Which is, I like, super annoying. Like, I guess that's the best way to put it, is that, like, and you can use that word for any deck in this game, right? But I think when 7 Great Demon Lords is, they just have a lot of loops. Like 7 Great Demon Lords has a lot of gameplay loops, whether it be Lucamon loop or even doing this with like Ruin Mode. They're just so unfun to play against. I mean, of course, the 7 Great Demon Lords players having a great time, right? And that's fine. You know, everybody has the playstyle that they like, but it's just so unfun to play against sometimes. And it's like, what do you do? You know, I mean, I'm getting a Lucamon here. I mean, Ruin Moded again, so I'm just like, I'm just gonna hard play this. I'm a hard play AG, and I literally just put the Uko in the trash because my kid dies. And I pulled the Ruin Mode out of his trash just so we know that it's like, it's still there in effect. So yeah, there's just some gameplay loops in this deck, in the 7 Great Demon Lords deck, that are a little bit annoying. I think that's the only thing I would say highlight wise. Poor Koopa for 4, push up, slot, and I'm like, I was like, you know what? Nah. I'm like, let me not. I'm like, I still go to 3 because of the AG, but I'll just put this in the trash. So now rune mode is gone, right? But theoretically, thank God, he like, what was that, 4 turns in a row of rune mode? Bro, what do you do? And don't get me wrong, I'm playing Luga, so like, I can't like bitch, right? Like I'm playing an OTK deck, so it is what it is. But alright, so then here's the combo where I definitely could have won, but I misplayed super hard. I think I could have won. How many scaries I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think I could have won here. So I'm like, what's in trash? He goes, just the Beelzemon. Alright, so here I go into the Soul Luger. And what I should have done here is I play out the Gato Uber. And I bottom deck the only target for Lucemon, which is good. But then I could have, I gained 2 memory, and then I could have just went Fenriloogamon here, right? We go, I think this is where we go Fenriloogamon, we swing, we pop the Lucemon. Yeah, that would have been much better. So I didn't realize this, the inherit on Soul Luger. If you swing and your opponent doesn't have 1 or more memory, like if the memory gauge was still on my turn and I swung with the Soul Luger inherit, it wouldn't be quote unquote wasted because it checks for the, what's the word I'm looking for? It checks for the condition to trigger the opponent being at 1 or more memory to unsuspend. I thought it was mandatory that if you check when you swing and it checks, it doesn't. And if your opponent, and you just miss it, right? Like, I thought it was like Mirage essentially. But what I could have done instead is I could have went, and realistically I could have done this backwards. I could have went Fenriloogamon, swing, pop the Lucemon, nothing gets played out, 2 checks, unsuspend, then play Analog Youth, pass memory gauge over, and then swing, 2 checks, unsuspend, and then I had Dino be in hand for game. So I definitely did this backwards. But that's again lack of reps with the deck, I think. So totally okay, it happens. But here then he clears all my little guys, and he actually clears my DNA target. So then I'm like, oof, yep, rip. So this was just, that's me not being like not being on my best game. I'm like, okay, so these 2 survive, this one dies. Then I'm like, oh wait, I can't. Then so I'm like, oh, I had this DNA, right? I'm like, oh, DNA, and then he's like, oh, you can't. He's like, oh, you can't. I'm like, oh, yeah, lol. Did I put back the card I drew? No, it was an Analog Youth. Do I end up playing that just to end up? I guess I do, yeah. I think I just end up playing the Analog Youth. Because I'm like, you know what? Let me just... So I drew for the DNA Evo, even though it wasn't legal. I mean, we lose anyway, so it's okay. But that's a bad mistake by me. Actually, I think do I just... Alright, stop shuffling, John. You lost. It's okay. So we kept the Analog Youth in hand. I mean, either way, it's like I was probably going to pass turn if I didn't draw Analog Youth. I was just going to be like, go ahead. And then play out the AG. Alright, so I mean, theoretically, what is that? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 4. So I mean, he still wins in the same amount of time, even with the Analog Youth. And then Ogudo shenanigans, you just win the game. But yeah, that was really bad misplays by me. But again, familiarity is everything, man. You got to get reps in, especially if you want to play at a high level. And I love Fenriloogamon, man. I was actually considering selling all my max rarity stuff, but because I just realized that like next set, like you don't even play this Fenril, like you don't even play some of the cards. But it is what it is. Like I decided, you know what? I already have like everything, including the stamped Lugarmons. I might as well just like keep the deck. Keep the deck together. And then here we're just checking the ruling on Analog Youths. I do get to proc them. And then Ogudo, yeah, pops everything. And it checks for 1. And then I'm here, I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, can I do anything? And then I guess because you pop Gate, the Belfmon stays on board and it's active, yeah. So yeah, I definitely should have OTK last turn. That was so bad by me, man. Unfortunate. Then I mean we're just playing cards, but it's kind of like it doesn't matter. It's GG. Ah, that's so annoying. I definitely could have played this better. That's alright. At least you, the thing is, if you know your losses are on you, at least you can change that, right? So it's cool. But valuable lesson learned. I'm like, it doesn't matter, yeah. Go ahead. But I will say, losing to like shit like ruin mode cheese for like 4 turns in a row, God, that's frustrating, bro. Nothing against Taj, but that's so cringe. This whole deck is all the plays from Seven Great Demon Lords are also cringe. And again, I'm entitled to my opinion. But also, just I think our locals just has a like influx of this deck, so that's why it's like I think we have like 4 players who play it, 5 if everyone shows up. So like, yeah. But it's funny too, because this deck like just instant loses to Magna, which is kind of funny. But for the last 2 locals I've been playing decks that like I just kind of picked up and decided to start playing. No previous warm up, no previous practice or anything. And the first one was Beelzemon, and then it's this Fenriloogamon. So I think I played pretty poorly in this instance. That being said, purple's a decent amount of fun. Beel's definitely felt strong, but then against Magna, I was like, dude, what do I do? I just die. We all got to start playing decks to start beating Magna, because we're just donating money to James, who's our resident Magna player on Thursdays and Tuesdays. I'm like, bro, we're just giving you money for no reason. Like, and I love talking shit to James too. He's like, bro, I'm dumb. What are you saying? So like, nothing I says gets to, nothing I say works, because he's like, bro, I am dumb. It's fine. Yeah, because the joke we make is like Magna Unga Bunga, right? And that's basically what it is. And if you're a Magna player and that offended you, I don't feel bad. Because the deck is Unga Bunga. Alright, so now we have a funny play here where do we have Uber in hand? I think we do the same thing before. I'll pitch, pop that, then we check for 1, it dies, and then we Uber. Oh, we just AG. I did it to Ray in our round 1. Like I threw my Lugat Security, then hard played Uber, and bottom decked what came out of Security, and he was like, okay, well that's annoying. I'm like, haha. He blocks again, we draw for turn, we hatch. I think we like really fumble the bag here in this matchup, or in this game, and I don't remember why. I think having Death X in hand both games is so bad. It's like such a... It does nothing against this deck. I mean, maybe if you get it out, it could be annoying, because at the end of their turn, they'll blow up any Demon Lord they have, but it does not... I mean, that kind of turbos them. I mean, they still get the source either way. Game 1 from AG, we just held Luger, draw 2, because we're looking for 4s. Oh, and I'm like, oh wait, I do get to return 1. And I'm like, I'll return this Luga because it was already in trash. Now I get Digimon Emperor because forehead. Yeah, dude, this whole deck is just cringe. I mean, it's okay. It is what it is. But yeah, this whole, like, when you see like the individual cards together, like the individual cards are strong. Ruin Mode, Emperor. They can also play Death X, but then like. They're all strong individually, but when you put them all together, it's just this cringe box of cards, dude. Alright, so I already feel like this is GG. I don't even see what the hell I took off Tyranno. Kills my Tyranno. I'm like, alright. I'm like, mill 4. You got 1 more. He's like, alright, cool. Then it's still his turn. I mean, what can he do here that would be kind of crazy? Fighting Emperor against Luga is pretty annoying because I don't get the extra value off of AG. Yeah. I'd rather play against Magna. But it's just like Royal Knights, right? When Royal Knights first came out, everybody was like, oh my god, this deck is broken, it's so unfair. But it's just because it's a learning curve and you have to play differently. Once you memorize what all the Knights do and kind of identify like common lines of play, it's not as bad. But then there's stuff like this with like the Lucamon loop, which is like super, like Lucamon being a defensive option is so good. Here I don't even know what we do. We could have, do we have an Uber that we could play out? Play out Tyranno, game 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Take another Tyranno. I could trash something. Trash the Tyranno. This is where like double Uber would be crazy. I mean, we send it and we go for it anyway with like the security checks and shit, but I'm like, we lose. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter. And what does he have? He has Belfmon and I think Lucamon Chaos Mode and trash. 1, 2, 3, 4. Taking the Soul Luger. We may have like, I think we may have tried to do this too early. Like maybe, but then next turn we could have went into ruin mode pretty easily. So like, that's kind of what we were trying to avoid. We don't suspend because memory. So now what? Do we swing? Do we pop that damn? I think we throw Gato. Oh, so I remember what I think I could have done differently here. I think it wouldn't have made too much of a difference. We would have got one more security check, but we could have played out Rush Gato off of Soul, thrown Rush Gato with security, and then played it out again and throw out that security again. And that would have been like maybe one more check, but we die anyway. It doesn't matter. And then of course we hit two of this fucking, two of the option card out of security. So now we just die. Yeah. I just think in general it's just poor play by me. That's all. I'm reading this card. I'm like, damn, anytime something dies, you play something out. I'm like, that's pretty good. Yeah, so I think in general, poor play by me. I think I got a little unlucky game 1, but I got unlucky because I made the wrong choices. And that's okay. Dude, I'm always salty when I lose, but I get over it. You gotta look at, and the fact that I'm able to watch my games back and see what I did wrong gives me an opportunity to really be like, all right, well, I could have done something better. That's better than feeling like you just lost because you lost. And that's literally what Magna feels like, bro. That's the thing. Like here in this matchup, I review this and I'm like, damn, I could have played better. But against Magna, when I played Beals earlier this week, I'm like, I don't know what I could have done differently. Maybe found the blocker combo. I'm like, I know, you know what I mean? That's I guess the annoying part is that with Magna, like with Magna X, it's just you couldn't have done anything differently. If your deck doesn't have an immediate answer to it, you just lose. And that's why I feel like that card's pretty. I don't think it needs to be banned. I think they need to hit Awakening of the Golden Knight, which I think would be better. So that they can't like go into Magna and keep turn. But that card takes away so much. Like Magna X just takes away so much skill expression in the game, I think. Like there just isn't anything you can do. 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, fuck it. We're playing Death X against Demon Lords. Yeah, that's what we end up doing. I'm like, fuck it, Death X for 8. Yeah, and then the only thing that Taj's like, oh, I have game is over. I'm like, bro, chill out. I'm still going Death X. But yeah, I mean, this is like pretty much over. His games are. I mean, he had game the moment I raised and went to Luga. I'm like, fuck it, Death X. Then he's gonna slot. Yeah. And we die. But yeah. Card games. I definitely should have played better. But congrats to him on getting the W. Good stuff on his end. Although I will say getting rude moded for 4 or 5 turns in a row is pretty it's not a fun way to play the Digimon trading card game. Alright everyone, well that looks like, I think we just scoop it up there. So I'm fairly certain, yeah, the video ends in like 3 seconds. So yeah, Taj just ends up winning here. Or I'm pretty sure I'm fairly certain I just scoop it up. I'm like, there's no point. Like, you got it, dude. Yeah, he kills it with Levia. And then I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm like, yeah, you got it, bro. So, thanks to everybody for watching. Appreciate your time as always. I would apologize for the misplays, but we're human. It's going to continue to happen. So with that being said, looking forward to catching you all in the next one, and have a great weekend. Good luck, have fun.